Yo, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of We Need to Talk. This is year 2, episode 4, which means a full year of episodes, 365 of those, plus 3, and then you add this one on. So, happy Easter to everybody. Sending positive vibes, positive energy to everybody who's out there with family, dressed up, trying to look like something, look at you. I saw some of y'all outside, today, walking with a different step. I like to see that. The sunshine is out or was out. A lot of people running around, a lot of action, a lot of people making moves. Great to see it. Love it. Love to see everybody out, looking like money. You know what I mean? As always, shout out to everybody who's been tuning in on the replays. Everybody who tunes in live. Shout out to you guys. Making some major changes, upgrades, all those types of things. So staying focused on my end, staying positive. Sending love and energy to everybody who is working through illness right now. And I definitely want to mention that, in true resurrection fashion, I want you guys to definitely remember and be focused on your own personal symbolic resurrection. We always have the opportunity to make major changes in our life's trajectory in order to grow, to be different, to evolve, to that's been the standpoint of this show is to create a platform geared around positive change, and creating an internal standard that's always seeking to be better, to be stronger, to overcome, to circumvent, to chase more, to request, ask for, and claim better for your life. So me, I'm always in analysis mode and symbolic, symbolism, and the resurrection applies to you as well. So never forget that. Tonight, it's called Origins. So something that I'm happy to begin, and I definitely want to bring on a friend of mine. She actually was on before. She was on here before. I was honoring and spotlighting her prior, and so tonight is her second time on, and because we got cut off last time. We got cut off last time, so we want to make sure. We want to make sure that we get her back on. We are able to pick up where we left off, because I know there was some stories, some things that we didn't get to, and in essence, that is that's exactly what we're here to do. And I use the term origins because I want to have a situation where I can delve into, the origin stories of the people, the wonderful people that I bring on, because I like to match who people are now and who they were. What are, where have you come from? What have you gone through? What are the things, the ingredients that make you you? So I'm gonna bring her on now. We're gonna get right to it. And shout out to Earth, Wind, and Fire and Isley Brothers tonight. That's gonna be a special one. I had to call family on that one. Like, y'all try to figure out Instagram, tune in or something. I had to call some people. So let me bring her on. But before I do, let me shout out to everybody in here. What's going on, Tay? Erica, what's going on? What are you doing? Stop. Close the door. Close the door. It's making too much more. All right, sorry, y'all. Natasha, what's up? Ty, what's going on? Dawn, what's up? What's up? Nancy, what's up? I don't know you, lady. I right, what's up? What's going on? The real Miss J Bennett. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? All right, cool, cool, cool. What's
Hey,
going on? Happy
Shella,
everything. How we doing?
happy everything. Happy resurrection.
Absolutely,
How you
absolutely.
doing today on this blessed resurrection day?
I'm resurrected. I'm fully resurrected. I try to mimic, the things that are going on, and able to kind of absorb those and kind of, bring those in. So I feel a rebirth happening. I feel that internally. So,
Mm-hmm.
celebratory, feeling good, feeling good. Um, I,
Good.
I see you. You vibrant as usual. You bringing the light back. I see. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, yeah. Are you about to do
Ready.
picture day? Is that what we doing?
Ready.
You got the lighting and all that.
Fabulous.
Yeah, this photo shoot. But so again, great to have you back on. And uh, last time we were able to kind of get into your school days, so to speak, and some of your romantic encounters, some of your certain patterns that you may have had in dating and things like that. And take us where you would like to take us as far as where you left off and what we missed, because I think we got to your previous relationships, and I think there were some stories and elements as far as your lifestyle, the environment, some things that you were dealing with around that time. So it's been a little bit, so I guess just let people know what you do now, and then let me know where you wanna jump back to.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. I know it's a big versus battle going on. I was like, oh, I
That
just
might,
remembered.
yeah, that's the biggest
That's
one
that,
yet, probably.
that's gonna be tight. Um,
Yeah.
yes, so I work as a counselor, I'm a psychotherapist. I own my own practice called Kind Heart. And that's pretty much what I do. I work from home. I counsel people dealing with depression, anxiety, loss, all those things. Been doing social work for over 20 years. So, in some form, I believe that I've worked in every aspect of social services, social work for the
Mhm.
most part. I'm sure there's parts that I haven't touched, but for the most part, I can't really think of any area that I haven't at least interned or worked in.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I feel like I paid my dues in that bubble,
Mhm.
right? And so last time we were talking about pretty much my story on how did I, how did I move throughout my timeline. And we talked a lot about, me being taken from my family through the courts, stuff like that, and mom issues and things like that. Don't know my father.
Mhm.
My understanding is my mom married my dad to get him into the country, and he's Haitian.
Mhm.
That's so, I guess I'm Haitian, right? Half Haitian. That's hence the last name Edmond. Hello. Oh. But that's all I kind of know. So we talked about that and what that looked like for me as a student. Had to grow up real fast. I didn't have time to play games. Really got into college as a survival mode because I didn't have many choices when you age out of the system. You either go into a boarding house or you go to college and keep your case open a little longer and still get some of the same benefits you would have gotten if your case does not close. So I chose to keep my case open,
Mhm.
get them food stamps. Hello, somebody. Clothing
Mhm.
checks. Hello. Um, and
Mhm.
to make do. So I didn't really have a chance to really be a child. I felt
Mhm.
like at the age of 9, it was like, girl, you better figure something out. And so I've always been a hustler from that age. Got myself into my own group home, the last group home that I was in, because I heard some cute boys was there. And that's how I met my blue polo, and we talked about that the last live. So that's pretty much where we left off, and then we got into the story about college life. I didn't really have a chance to, I had fun, yes, but I had to always be very strategic in how I did business because I couldn't afford to lose my housing.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford to lose my education, get kicked out of college because that meant that I would actually be homeless and on the street.
Yeah.
So school has always been my safe haven,
Mm.
right? That's been my safety box because if home life is crazy, I know I'm smart. I know I could work. As I got older, I realized, I got a lot of skills, and that's been my bedrock, so to speak. So anything that threatens that, even to this day, is a major issue for me
Mm.
because I've always had to have that security because,
Yeah.
even though I've had people in my life that, like my godmother and other people that have provided in some aspects, but when their life, they had things going on in their own life, they couldn't really be there for me. I had to step up
Yeah.
and be my biggest cheerleader. So I didn't have time for the foolishness. I didn't have time to kind of make big mistakes and
Mm.
it could have been catastrophic.
Yeah. For
So
sure.
that's kind of where we stopped off at the last time. And then I mentioned that before I got into college, I had, of course, a whole street life,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And because when you come up through the system, you forge these relationships, and they're rooted in it's us against the world. You know what I'm saying? Because we're in the same spot. I don't got a mama either. I don't got a daddy. So we have this whole unofficial game. It's not like a game where you're going around, killing people and stuff like that. But
Mm.
it's this code, It's like, okay, I'm gonna ask my moms, can you come to my house tonight? When I used to be bad and get kicked out the group home, I went
Mm.
and stayed with my girlfriend Gail and her mother, you know. And her mom, listen, we ain't know whatever else was going on. We knew that Linda had some bologna sandwiches waiting for us. You know what I'm saying? The bologna
Mm.
sandwiches was the truth. The
Mm.
cold cuts, you get like $5 worth, but so what? You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They go and don't fry that bologna and put a little mayonnaise and a little tomato. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't laugh. Don't
I
laugh at
can't.
my kids.
But baloney. I'm gonna tell you, baloney. That's one thing I could not be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it was.
Fry
Ham was
bologna
all right. Turkey was all right. Bologna was a hell no. But yeah, I
Oh,
would have
yeah.
struggled. Yeah.
You would have struggled.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so Gail and I met, and she was one of my closest friends in high school. And we met, she was in the auditorium rapping.
Mm.
And we became cool, and she heard about my story, and that was it. It was like another family that I had now in my
Mm.
pocket. And I don't care what anybody was doing. They get mad at me to this day. They say, how do you get good grades when you was cutting class with us? You know what I'm saying? But to me, that was, I have to.
Yeah.
Because I just felt like if I didn't make those grades, then like I said, it was gonna be crazy for me. So
Mhm. Mhm.
that's the struggle that I faced when I got into college, because when I got into college, it wasn't like, oh, I've dreamed about going to college. That
Mhm.
definitely
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
never the case. My dream originally growing up was to be like Whitney Houston, because I thought she was my mama. I used to just go there in my head, like, Whitney, my mama.
Shout out to Jersey though. Shout out to Jersey. That's another one of them Jersey natives. You know what I mean? You gotta.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And so for me, going to college was a choice between when I saw people was aging out of the system and going into boarding homes, and I would go and visit, and I would see people getting out of prison and county jail going there, seeing people that had left the program before me go there. I was like, okay, what is my other option though?
Yeah.
Go to
Mhm.
school, get good grades, housing, you get a food card. What? NQ boys? That's That's a wrap. No curfew. You kind of grown
Mhm.
ish, you know. And so that's kind of what the thing was. But then I had my girlfriend Gail, and the life. I wouldn't say we was on the street, but I just felt this guilt that here I am moving into a whole nother world with
Mhm.
different people, and things like that. And we've actually talked about this as adults, you
Yeah.
know, because she would say, "Oh, you think you at school now? You don't never invite me to stuff, you know, and stuff like that." Because it was just two different worlds at
Hmm.
that point. And I would try to merge the two, you know,
Yeah.
out of the guilt. You know what I'm saying? And and it's crazy now because, and that's probably for another day, but it's crazy now because my two worlds currently with my college friends and my friends that I knew before I went into college, they're now friends now that I live in North Carolina
Okay. Okay.
because they
That's
got
cool.
together on some projects and stuff. And to see my best friend from childhood and my
Hmm.
best friend from college, because my best friend from childhood, she's actually an artist.
Okay.
And I've been telling her to kind of come on different shows to showcase, but she's doing her own thing. And then my best friend from college, who I'm about to put you in contact with, she wants you to come on her show and talk about sex. Um, she's pretty dope as well.
That's
You're
what
gonna you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. You're
I,
gonna love it.
I'm sure.
Um, because she's in the industry and she's a model and an actress and all those things.
Okay.
They came together on pride. They come together now on different projects. They're friends, and they actually took a picture to say, "Look, Ty, you brought us together," you know. And that kind of made my.
Mm-hmm.
It was like
Hmm.
full circle, you know. And so that's kind of my life in a nutshell. In terms of those timelines.
And I think one thing that's really powerful about that is having, you know, well, first of all, being able to merge the two worlds. Because I think for, you know, I could see you being split and that there being some anguish with that if there was if you couldn't have both because you are both. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I think if we're talking about what we symbolically represent and our origins and what parts of us stick, like, and some of the things you mentioned, you know, the survival, you know, instinct, and, you know, the determination, and also the standards. You felt as though this, I have to make this particular track work, otherwise everything else is destruction. You know, homelessness, jail, this, like, all the other outcomes were unacceptable to you. So it didn't matter that people would matriculate through these group homes and end up in those other spaces, because that probably only motivated you to stay even more on track. You see what I'm saying? Because as opposed to other people who unfortunately may have been in a position where they weren't able to uphold those types of standards for themselves, maybe come from a long line of people who ended up in jail and figured that was their fate and just accepted it. There's always a point where you can either accept the trajectory from where you come from, who you don't have, what you don't have, the money you don't have, the opportunities you don't have, and then to accept the odds, stats, and the pipeline to prison or the graveyard, right? So there's some people who, on some level, accept that, and maybe even put themselves in harm's way subconsciously,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't feel like their life is going to be destined for anything more than that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Conversely, you know, you found yourself in a space where you were able to say, okay, I don't like that, and I don't like that. So I'm gonna go this way, and I'm not gonna let anything push me off of the path.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the dope thing is you are able to meet people along the way on both sides of the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And another skill that adds for you is that you can walk in many different circles. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There's a duality to you, to where, you know, on the professional side you can hop in a Zoom or some kind of virtual conference, and you know, yeah, so, you know, clinically, from my perspective, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that certain symptoms, some of the symptomology was different in dichotomy, and you could do that and then you can go outside and say, "Hell, yeah, man, let's go to this cookout." You already know, like,
You
yeah,
know
I
what I'm
got my
saying?
water,
What's popping?
and not be some fakeness on either side. Like neither
Yeah.
side is not you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's
And
always,
I bring it into the world of counseling.
yeah,
I bring that because we're taught as counselors, I know MSWs are, that rapport is everything.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? And so I bring that to that environment. You know what I'm saying? I
mm,
bring that realness. I bring whatever, and then I can switch it up for, a population that may not be able to connect to me in that way. You know what I'm saying? And so I think, I mean, I have one client right now. She didn't like everybody at her job. She referring to me. I'm like, whoa,
mm,
like
mm.
that I could be. I don't think that I
Now
tell my clients.
that froze.
I'm sorry.
Are you can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah, you had froze for a second, and the photo or the freeze frame that it froze on was crazy. So it was like it was the most animated. Like it caught you at the craziest time. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Can you delete that
No, no,
now?
not at
I
all.
know you can. I know you can.
But go ahead.
So, so I switch up. You know what I'm saying? And I like that about that I can do that. But I still, even with clients that I feel that may not be able to get that aspect of me, I still believe that I can also bring them into my world. Because
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm like, uh-oh, they're not gonna get me. It's a wrap, you know, not a good fit. And they be like, I love you. I'm like, you do? Like, okay, And so there's always too, there's this level of insecurity when I am being me. You know what I'm saying? Because in this world of the clinical world, and I always used to say I'm not a clinical person because I'm just so real, and I love that piece about me. And I'm not bragging, it's just me. I do believe that people can see that in me. And that's the thing that I rock on. I love that. You know what I'm saying? And so if I can't be that, then I don't want it. Like I can't,
Mhm.
and I can actually automatically sense and feel when someone is not being their true self. Because it's like, okay, you being that ain't. And so I bring that into the world that I'm in. My brother just joined. Hey Musa.
Hey,
And he can tell you he's my god brother that passed away, best friend. And since
okay.
my brother died, he's been like a brother to me. Like, I'm from the streets. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? But I know that when people come into this clinical world, they see it as, well, I can say some of my counselor friends, people see it as, okay, I gotta be this.
Mhm.
And I gotta say these words that I may not even understand. And I said when I become a counselor, I'm gonna keep it very simple. And I'm gonna because at the end of the day, people want help. They don't care about the letters. They want to be able to get to life and do it at their highest and their best. And a lot of the different stories that I hear, I can connect not only in a personal way, but also be able to connect with them and say, listen, I can meet you where you are and bring you to where you need to be. But I'm gonna do it because after a couple of times of you playing the victim, I'm gonna let you know that I don't work with victims. I work with survivors. I work with creators,
Mhm.
right? And if you want to be the victim, then you're not in enough pain because I believe that pain promotes change. If you're in
Mhm.
enough pain, you're going to get your change because you're going to seek it. It's going to be I was in so much pain as a child that I was like, I can't do this right here. Nah, I can't. I saw my life being bigger than that. Even though I was angry and running around and getting in trouble and stuff like that, I had an out. I had Paul Donnelly, and he was a tall white guy that used to come in my classroom when I used to fight and act cut up, and he used to say, And he took me in his office. And the day that Mom Dukes put me out, because she was dealing with issues with the dynamics where we were living in, put me out. He was the one that took me to the shelter at like 9 or 10. He
Yeah.
was the one that took me out to get something to eat when he didn't know if I was going to be eating properly at the shelter.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This man is now 75 years old, tall white dude. Love him dearly because he went beyond his job to help me because he saw something in me. And I promise you that every step of my life, there was somebody, even at the shelter, I would sit with the staff. They would have me help them do some like paperwork, not really paperwork, but they would like help me, like let me help them file or something. Someone always saw something in me, right? And so I had angels all around me. My godmother, bless her heart, who is a godmother. By title alone, you just buy gifts on birthdays,
Yeah.
right? You don't necessarily take somebody in and make them your daughter. I became homeless in Charlotte, living down here, lost a job. This is another piece of the layer.
Mm-hmm.
And my godmother was the one that paid my bills,
Mm.
all my bills,
Wow.
all of them. ALL. My best friend paid my phone bill for 6 months.
That's major.
So these are the type of people that I have in my life. You know what I'm saying? And so for me to try to bridge those gaps was truly important to me because I never wanted people that have been there for me at my lowest to feel that I think that I arrived so much that I discount them.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the ongoing sense of commitment that I still have to this day.
Yeah. No, I think first of all, that's an incredible blessing to have because coming up how you came up, the tendency in the back of your mind could be, you know, don't nobody want me like that, so I'm gonna push everybody back. You see what I'm saying? And I'm gonna act out or I'm gonna do things to keep people at bay because I don't trust that they'll stick around, right? So no matter how much of that energy you may have had at different points, like you said, at every milestone, at every segment of time, there was always one who saw through that and said, nah, I'm gonna help you, as opposed to taking offense, responding with the same energy, coming back at you, locking you up, putting you, you know what I'm saying? Just the punitive approach or returning to hostility. There was always somebody who took it a step further and said, you know what, let me help you with some resources, let me put you on, let me connect you to where you know, maybe you can thrive in this way. Let me give you something to be busy so you won't be outside being whatever. And that, you know, I always focus on what elements or what milestones in our lives pave the way for our future careers, right? And I think the reason that happened in that way is so that you could have the internal components to help people who don't trust nobody, help people without having a lot of that negative transference. Because if you still were in survival mode to that degree, you couldn't help nobody. Because you
Mm-hmm.
could survival mode is not I'm gonna help somebody oriented. It's me against the world, just like you said. So you're looking
Mm-hmm.
for my resources. I need this. I need that. I'm an extractor.
Mm-hmm.
I need this, that, and the third, and super guarded, etc. But you had to have experiences that could mold you and on a street level, mold you on an informational, you know, college level, and then on a hey, this world isn't that terrible because there's always somebody to help, and maybe I could be one of those to somebody. Maybe one day these helpers that pop up every couple years, maybe I could be one of those to somebody who's going through something that they can't fix. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And I think that's really the beauty in it, because a lot of times where we end up, or the profession or purpose or whatever, where we end up, sometimes we see them. We see the future us in some capacity, you know what I'm saying, along the way. That's why I always say, like, everybody everybody's purpose is unique to their personality, of course, skills and things like that, but also how the environment shapes you. There's everybody's perfect for something because of all of the things that happened along the way, and the patterns and the people and the turning points, and the climates and the different eras of time when it was like this, when it was like that, like people who left, people who came in, just the whole thing. We can use the whole thing to say,
Yep.
all right, let me put all this together, and I'm gonna be what I feel is correct.
Well, that's why it's easy for me to, I spoke to my counselor, the man I told you that came and got me. He dropped me off and he saw that I was put out with all my stuff. And that was like a ritual that my mom would do. She,
Okay.
her and I are good, now. She actually lives with me now. She's
Yeah.
elderly. And I just went and got her. And
Okay.
so, it's a
Well,
transition for both of
when
us.
you gonna put it out?
I'm not putting that out.
No, it's your turn, man. Your turn. No,
I'm not.
no, no.
No,
Oh, man.
because I had to realize, another piece of my drive was to prove to my mom and whoever my dad is that, I'm a treasure, you know what I'm saying? And you messed up, so my whole thing was to make it so I could go back and be like, mm-hmm. But God spoke to me. I really believe he did. And he told me one day when I was really mean to my mom years ago, like I was like in my 20s. And he said, if you don't forgive your mom her transgressions, I'm not going to be able to forgive you.
Mm, mm,
And that I didn't have any peace. And so I just really made it my business. I mean, there were times I couldn't even sleep in the same house with my mom.
okay.
If she is on one floor, I would have to be on another because, she would make threats about doing something to me in my sleep because I was bad. I was bad. And so
Mm-hmm.
but I was bad acting out because of the environment that we were in. You know what I'm saying? And certain family members to this day, they act like they wasn't there too. I'm like, okay. But and so, I told on a lot of things and I was the one that really got pretty much kept getting kicked out. Because
Yeah.
I always had a I'm a tell snitch, listen, spirit, right? And so and then when I went to stay with my godmom, I didn't stop being bad. And she had kids, and she didn't want them to be influenced by my behaviors. And I remember when she kicked me out. I remember holding. There was a couple times she kicked me out, but when I was young, I remember holding on to the piece of furniture when the worker came to get me
Yeah.
and crying for dear life. But the one thing I must say that made the difference is that no matter if I could not physically live with my godmother, she has never left my side.
Mm,
Never once. We get in our disagreement. She'll call me like, like, we talk every single day. This lady is my godmother. She has never once left my side.
mm,
So when people say, well, if I help somebody, they got to stay with me, they don't. My
mm,
godmother called me at every group home, every shelter. I probably couldn't live in her house, but she would send me packets and clothes and made sure I had money and, things like that.
that's
Because
dope.
she had a husband and she had children. And you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And, even in college, she had different situations and I couldn't stay there, but she still was consistent and she still helped me. And I'm sharing this with people because a lot of us got an overdeveloped sense of responsibility,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. We feel like we have to be the one. And you could be the one, but you don't have to be the one where somebody actually come and stay in your house. Help can look different. And so my story is that I would not change one thing.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for the different things that I've been through, I wouldn't have what you just mentioned. I wouldn't have that in me to be able to connect, especially with children, young girls and boys who feel like they have no voice, who don't feel like people even can tap into and understand that they're just developing and learning and moving along life. And this world is a lot different than how we grew up. So I started off my career working specifically with children, specifically. And they call me Miss E. And I have clients that bring their kids in from 3 on up that I can connect with in ways that nobody else seen to. You know, even if they leave, they bring them back like that. No, nobody else can help her. She don't hit, she don't hit people when she comes see you. You know,
Right.
because
Right.
kids are very spiritual beings, and so you have to be able to give them choices and let them know that they got choices over their they have control over their choices as well, and you got to act like you can see them and not treat them like they're just a piece of an object. Like, you're just here, we make decisions, you shut up. And I knew how that felt. I knew how it felt not to know where I was going to live. I knew how it felt when you're not with your family. So I thank God for that, because through that I have been able. I had a student reach out to me after 15 years to tell me how I have changed the trajectory of her life. I didn't even know. I'm like, let me look that word up. I'm only playing. I'm like, because she said that she knew I was hard on her. She knew I thought that I was hard on her, but it actually helped her. So now she's a director of a program in New York. And she speaks out, because I had to teach them how to have this group of a lot of young people how to speak out. And so my point is that I wouldn't change nothing.
Yeah.
And if I had to write a book, it would be about how the system actually worked for me.
Yeah.
And how it helped me, because I wouldn't have been afforded to meet all these different great people. I have a sister that stayed in the house. That's a whole nother lie, and she went through a lot more than I went through, you know? And so, and I'm not saying that just to bash my family or whatever, but I'm saying this to say that when you're in dysfunction, you don't know it's dysfunction. Because it's normal. You normalize it, right?
Yeah.
So when I came out of it, and I still had to continue to come out of it and not feel a guilt from coming out of it and being afforded opportunities. I went to college, and when I went to college, people would help me. This lady started tutoring me, bringing me food to class, because I would work 3 jobs. And the professor, the whole department took to me. I got an award. This is an achievement, believe you can achieve awards. So I had people just helping me. And I was like, oh my God, Patty, she died. God bless her heart. She tutored me. She gave me her computer when I said I didn't think I could go to grad school. She tutored me through grad school until my last paper. And I didn't trust white people with Mr. Donnelly at the time, because in my community, you don't trust white people. Right? So that's when I was like, no, I'm not going to not love on everybody. That's when my eyes was open, because when my professor said I need Patty to tutor you, I was like, first of all, I'm in college, like what, 21, 22. Patty, I promise you, was like 50. And I'm like, I don't want to be around that lady. I don't be trusting them. She might try to set me up. I'm thinking all types of craziness. This lady took me to her house, fed me. She would bring sandwiches to class for me when she knew I probably didn't eat.
Yeah.
Understand? Then on college, I had a group of people who, one of my friends, her mother and her father died while we were in college. Then Moochie, her mom died. So, and then another friend, Joy, all the people that were mourning parents.
Yeah.
We were like a family on campus. So it's not like campus life was like, campus life was like, okay, we in this together,
Yeah. And
So
I think
that's kind of what it was.
based on all of that, your man, it was so many examples of people being right there when you needed them, and in a sense, it's like, okay, coming out of that, now you've been charged with the task of now helping others with all that's been poured into you. Because looking at the odds of you being able to make it where you've made it, coming from where you've come from, are way low. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where God was showing you that don't worry about the odds. Don't worry about other people's issues with the system or anything like that. You folk, I'm gonna give you exactly what you need on this process. You just got to be there to take advantage of it. You just got to make sure that you're doing what you need to do to utilize the tools and the gifts and the safety nets, the support, all of those things that will come up right when you need them. Don't mess up the opportunities, because I'm gonna send people to hold you down, and then you good.
Well, I want to say this to that point, and that was my whole mindset. So I had gotten a job in a school system,
Mm.
and it was all gravy just for a few years. And I'm not going to say too much about this. And I had that mindset
Yeah,
because remember, school was my outlet.
yeah,
And throughout my journey, I stayed away from working as a school counselor because I was like, whatever. But I knew it was my calling, right?
yeah.
So I started working at a school. I won't say what district, and I started just giving my all, doing everything I had to do. Then I was discriminated against, and I was targeted, and I was
From the
ostracized.
admin and all of that, from the school system, or
Admin,
okay,
big lawsuit, 8 years of
wow,
my life, still in it.
still in it now.
Yes,
Okay, wow,
sir. So the lawsuit itself is that's whatever, but there's other aspects because I'm a tenured employee. That's kind of how it goes.
yeah,
So I had that mindset and I was comfortable, good money, good, doing what I love to do. I had every program going in a school. Why? You know what was driving me? What was driving me was what you just said, right? That I owe it back, right?
right.
A counselor that used to counsel me when I was little started working for the same district.
That's deep.
Came into my office, said to the principal, this girl right here, you don't know her story, right? And my principal was like, I know she a hard worker. Put all my energies into doing every program that nobody would want to do. I had people that want to do the boys program. Guess who was doing the boys program?
Mm-hmm.
Had a girls group, got pictures to prove it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then and I'm thinking district people was coming in and had me train other people.
Mm-hmm.
One person came in that didn't look like us because he was Hispanic and he wanted all his team to be Hispanic, targeted me.
Wow.
For several years. I told the people that I work for, because I'm such a great employee, I'm like, surely.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, they said I was mentally unstable. They posted it on the internet. They took away my income. After they paid me 2 years, they stopped paying me. I went from making $100,000 to $30,000
Mm-hmm.
because I left the state and I'm like, I gotta survive,
Mm-hmm.
Went down to making $30,000. That's when all this stuff started happening here in Charlotte. I didn't really know the ins and outs. The bottom line is, when I stood up to say that they were doing stuff inappropriately with kids, they were not servicing them properly. When I worked in my building for 5 years before this started happening, no kid that I sent off to get services was rejected. And we got to have another live about the system because I'm like a guru in that. Okay. I made sure no kids was being labeled with ADHD, ODD, any of that, because a lot of ways that they control us is they get our parents to sign stuff that they don't know what they signing.
Yeah.
So I would educate the parents. They wanted me out of there. I would educate the parents. I would talk about the staff that was not doing their job. I would raise those issues. I would advocate and tell my parents to go to the board meetings and bring the IEP so the children that are supposed to be services and receive services can get it. Work would be over at 4. I'm still there like 6 o'clock at night working with the families. Okay. When I tell you, I stood up and people would come in my office, wait, Miss E, when we gonna go to the meeting and say this. None of them stood up with me. I stood up to a whole district by myself. God blessed me with a great attorney who took my case until he settled it, right?
Yeah.
He said, you don't pay me nothing. You don't pay me nothing. We gonna win. They retaliated. They took me out to school and walked me out to school with an officer. Like I was a criminal.
Right.
Saying that I threatened somebody. No, I did not. And that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother day. Because the same people said I was threatening them was the same people I was shining light on that weren't providing services to students. There was one young girl who was autistic, and she was sitting in the class, and she was, when you have an academic problem, it now becomes a behavior problem if you start developing low self-esteem and things like that. So her mom was coming for 2 years for services. They were not giving this young girl services. I went through the back door, told the mom that she did not have to wait for the process we were going through. What she could do to get her child service. Her child was serviced. She wrote me a letter. A year later, her daughter made the student of the month. So they wanted me out of there.
Yeah.
Understand? And they got me out of there. Right? And so I felt like I gave up for 2 years. I gave up for 2 years. I said, I'm not doing this no more. I'm done. I paid my duty to society. I've given back. This has taken my livelihood. I'm down to almost nothing in the bank. Like maybe like $5. Not now, but then.
Yeah.
I had to go to counseling, layers and layers of counseling and all types of stuff. And thank God for a great psychologist who told me that you've done nothing wrong. The world needs you. Yeah. But this time when I went back saying that when I go back, I'm going to go back and I'm still going to be me, but I gotta situate myself in a way that if this gets too heavy, I can work for myself. Yeah. And that's where I'm at now.
Gotcha.
And it's still going on because they just took my health benefits, a job, and it's all legal matters, so I can't say but too much. And they're trying to take my pension, but that's okay.
And you know what I'm going to say? Whenever there's a situation, and I'll close with this. Whenever there's a circumstance that you go into with the best of intentions, you go in and work above and beyond. You go in and are there for the people who need it, supporting the kids and the families who need it. Model employee, hard worker, doing what's right, honoring your calling, and then the demons come, then the hostility comes, and all of these different things. That's, although there were, like you said, a lot of points where you felt negatively. Obviously, you were triggered. You had a lot of different things happening at once, a lot of things taken, but it was taken in order to push you and to give you the lane to do everything that you were supposed to do without any of the shackles and bureaucracy and admin and politics and the pipeline that they try to do with our kids, you know what I'm saying? And just the criminal activities in a lot of the education system as it stands in this country. So by virtue of how everything played out, you were a part of a major turning point to say, as far as God saying that, I ain't done with you, but we're gonna resituate you to give you more control over the situation, and allow you to freely do your best work without feeling like somebody can ruin that, or can get you, or can shake you up, or can usher you out based on you doing your job. You should never be penalized for doing your best work in the community. That's backwards. So in order to get out of a backwards corrupt system, something bad has to happen to get you out of there. Because otherwise, you would stay in it.
I would
And
have.
you see what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
this is how God talks sometimes. We often say, well, God speak to me. He gonna throw some events at you to show you, like, all right, this is a major left you about to make. You might not think you ready, but you ready, and I'm gonna set it up for you. You know what I mean? And then once you get on the other side, counseling, work yourself, read perspective, pick up the pieces, and like you said, you still kind of in it, but another note is, God ain't gonna give you what you can't handle. You're a survivor by nature. You went up against 1,000 enemies before this and made it through. You know what I'm saying? You went against poverty, and made it through. You went against homelessness and made it through. Being unsuccessful, made it through. You know what I'm saying? Every element of possibility, or every aspect of possibilities, you made it through to another side because you were powerful enough to do so. And this is no different. So this is not going to end any different than the other ones did. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So you're definitely somebody I respect a lot. Somebody that's doing great work, in the community and in your family as well, and just in all aspects. And again, Ty, it's been a positive exchange. With you. as,
Yeah, right. No pun
as
intended.
as usual, as it always is. And got a lot of love for you. You know what I'm saying? And I want you to keep
Ditto.
doing what you're doing. And we got to catch up too. You know what I'm saying? It's been a minute, so we got to catch up off air. But salute to you. That's a powerful story, and it's a story that's not done being written. But the stage that you're in now is a really great one from where I can see. So definitely keep it up.
Thank you so much, and thank everybody for watching.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So have a great night. And I'll see all these guys tomorrow night. I'm about to go old school now. I'm about to go see what's up with these. I'm about to go 1960 something. You know what I
Yes.
mean? All right, I'll see y'all later.
All right, love you, bro. Bye.
Love you too.